Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football top 10 best bets week number 2 edition. And I do have some bonus bets at the end of this video. Unfortunately, in week 1, I did go 5-5. A lot of that had to do with a ridiculous overhitting in the Northern Illinois game. I would have been 6-4. But guys, this is great news because normally with me, I'm really bad in week 1. The fact that I'm already 5-5, I would expect this week around an 8-2, 9-1 record, minimum 8-2. So guys, the number 10 best bet, we're going to go Michigan sitting minus 36 versus UNLV. Of course, you can see the best bet is underlined, so I do like Michigan to cover that 36-point spread. Michigan understands as a team inside of the top 5, they have to start covering these spreads. They're 0-1 against it. UNLV is terrible. They just beat Bryant, an FCS school. Who cares? Michigan will score more on offense, maybe get a defensive touchdown in this one, and they will cover the spread easily, 52-10. Number 9 best bet is going to be Troy plus the 15.5. I think this line is moved to 17 or something like that because people are really fading Troy. But Kansas State early in the season always seems to have a game like this where they just randomly struggle against a bad team, group of 5 or non-power 5 opponent. I think it's going to be this week against Troy. Will Troy win outright? I would not bet on it. But the other thing, and this is very key, this game is at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. These kids are going to be sleepy. It's morning. There's going to be no energy in that stadium. I will say that is a very nice stadium. I was looking up some pictures of that Bill Snyder stadium. Very nice stadium, but I still do like Troy. Their pedigree, they were good last year. They haven't started off well this year. That's why people are fading them, but there's something off about this Kansas State team. I will take Troy. Give me all the points. Give me plus 15.5. Give me plus 17. Can we see a plus 18? Maybe. That seems like very good value. The number 8 best bet, it's got to be Cincinnati on the road at Pittsburgh. Don't know if they're going to win. Maybe this is my overreaction to Emory Jones week 1. Who knew Emory Jones was still in college and he shows up at Cincinnati and plays extremely well. Cincinnati over Eastern Kentucky. We know Eastern Kentucky, obviously not a good opponent, but they were 21-point favorites. Cincinnati was. They won by about 50. They moved up every analytical ranking, and now everyone is in on Cincinnati plus 7.5 here. Maybe they lose by a field goal, but 7.5 is a big number. They could even lose by a touchdown and still cover, so I will take that. Also, the other thing, Pittsburgh at home, not a great atmosphere. Pittsburgh this year, kind of a team that's 6-6, 7-5, whatever. It's going to be a close game. Even if Cincy loses, it'll be by a field goal. At number 7, we've got Purdue traveling on the road at Virginia Tech. This is a level game. Think about it. Purdue coming in 0-1, Virginia Tech 1-0. They beat Old Dominion. It was a low-scoring game. Purdue loses at home to Fresno State. Fresno State's a good team, and Purdue showed me enough offense plus the 3. I also think, guys, this game very low scoring. I would take the under. I think it's a weird score, but Purdue, the value plus the 3, they're more talented on the road. Both of these teams will be 1-1 at the end of this week. I cannot see Purdue dropping to 0-2 and Virginia Tech moving to 2-0. They're going to level out. They're both going to be 1-1. Purdue, the value plus the 3. They were plus 1. I'm shocked that line moved up and people are actually betting on Virginia Tech. Their offense is simply not good. Moving on to number 6, we're going to be taking the under in the Miami of Ohio at UMass game. So Miami of Ohio, I do think covers the around 7.5 point spread. They seem to be overreacting to Miami's really bad week 1 performance against Miami of Florida, where they only scored 3 points. But this is a game all the models just think is going to go way under. Miami, very bad offensive performance week 1. They have a quarterback that has some experience, but I still would say on the road at UMass. And then we know how bad UMass is just overall in general. We will go the under 46. I really wish this was like 48 or 49, but still under 46. You can have Miami of Ohio getting up 28, 27 points, something like that, and we will have the under hitting there. Moving on to number 5, it is Texas Tech plus the 6.5 at home This is going to be a really fun game. It might even be higher scoring. The only thing I worry about with this one is Oregon possibly scoring a late touchdown to push the lead to 10 or something like that, maybe even 7. 6.5, though, it does seem like enough. I still do like Texas Tech, even after their week 1 loss to Wyoming. That was a really bad spot for them. There was a weather delay. They were up early. They showed that they can throw the ball, move the ball around. They were ranked right outside of the top 25 going into the season, and this is really put up or shut up for them at home. This is their Super Bowl, the huge non-conference game. They had so much hype coming into this year. If they lose this, they fall to 0-2. They're fighting for their lives right now. I know how good Oregon is, but it's not like I'm extremely wowed by Oregon's defense. They're susceptible to giving up some points, especially to a team like Texas Tech. Texas Tech being at home with a raucous environment in this one. I'll take them, the value, the plus 6.5 there. The number 4, it's going to be North Texas minus the 12. So I was in on North Texas last week, and I got absolutely crushed when they got destroyed by Cal. But I will take them minus the 12. It is funny, you take a look at ESPN and their FPI. They have Florida International favorites to win this game at 51%. I don't know what their analytics see, but I do think North Texas is due for a big-time win. The only reason why they're only minus 12 is because Vegas seems to be overreacting to their bad performance last week. Yes, the defense looked bad, but California has a really good running back. And honestly, if these two teams played last year and it was North Texas on the road just like it is here, they would be about minus 21, maybe even like minus 28. So I do think there's early season value on North Texas, only minus the 12. Do we really think North Texas is going to fall to 0-2 against the spread? This is an established good university. They're a solid football school, so we'll take them minus 12. Number 3, we do have New Mexico State traveling to Liberty. So this is a very similar thought here. By the way, I forgot to put the little FPI thing. I apologize for that. I think Liberty's got like a 68% chance to win, but that's really just anecdotal. Liberty is such great value. This is a very similar strategy I'm using with the last bet where I'm betting against horrifically bad teams. New Mexico State almost lost to like an FCS team. I think that they beat Maine 14-12. Maine? Was that who that was? Oh my goodness. So I will take Liberty big in this one. And there is a thing that apparently this year Liberty is not very good, but still minus 10, it just seems like good value early in the season against a horrifically bad team. New Mexico State is routinely one of the worst teams in FBS. At number 2, we're going to go with Mississippi State minus the 9 at home against Arizona. Arizona is not good at all. They won week 1 against a nobody. Mississippi State, they've got Will Rogers returning. This is going to be a trouncing. They are at home. It's a 7 o'clock game. I do love these games. I love seeing Pac-12 versus SEC. It's such a weird contrast, especially when it's a home and home. And it's really cool to see Arizona go to the state of Mississippi, but this is going to be really ugly for Arizona. I'm very surprised Mississippi State's only minus 9. That one seems to be easy to snipe there. And then my number 1 best bet is going to be Alabama sitting right now minus 7. I think Alabama performs extremely well in this game. I am not buying Texas at all. They have a decent roster, I guess, but even their talent, I'm just not buying it. Alabama with Jalen Milroe. Is this a little bit risky because we don't fully know? I guess you could say that. I understand many of the sharps are on Texas plus the 7 because of the uncertainty surrounding Alabama, but this is how college football is. Let's think about this for a second. Last year, early in the season, Bryce Young, Alabama, 20-point favorites on the road at Texas. They barely win. They very easily could have lost that game. They don't cover at all. Now they're at home. They have a quarterback issue. We'll see, not a lot of uncertainty there. But this is what college football is. It doesn't make any sense. But this year, Bama will cover easily against Texas. They'll blow them out. I mean, Texas can still have a nice season, but this is a 7 o'clock. This is like an old-fashioned primetime game. I love this. 7 o'clock on ESPN. Normally, all the primetime games are 7:38. But I will take Bama big in that one. And then I do have some bonus rapid-fire best bets here just to go through. Eastern Michigan at Minnesota. I'll take the under 48.5. I just think Minnesota can't score. I mean, they'll probably win, but what we saw from them in week 1, they were on the verge of being held to 10 points that game. I know they ended up winning, but I'll take the under there. Temple at Rutgers. I mean, you just got to go under 44. It seems free. Both of those offenses are horrifically bad. Rutgers beat Northwestern. They only scored 24 points. Temple just can never score, so I'll take the under. Oklahoma State minus the 3 at Arizona State. Arizona State's just not very good, and Oklahoma State, I know they struggled last week. I think they'll be able to cover 3 points, although actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure if I can trust Oklahoma State right now. The problem with Arizona State is they're going to be at home. They've got that young quarterback. I mean, 3 is not too much to cover, though. I feel like they'll be able to do that. Arkansas minus the 38 versus Kent State. So there's some, early season murmurings that Kent State might be the worst team in FBS based off of the amount of talent that they lost. We'll see what happens, but they did just lose to UCF 56-6, and Arkansas is coming off kind of a subpar performance week 1 against an FCS team, so I really think this could be a game where it's like 52-7, 62-7, something like that with KJ Jefferson. We will see. UTEP at Northwestern, I think you just have to do it. You have to take the under 38. Neither of these teams can score. They're both horrible. I saw UTEP sitting minus 1.5 in this game on the road. Northwestern, my goodness. I feel like there's value on Northwestern plus the 1.5, but you would be crazy to bet on Northwestern right now. I'm not going to do that. I'll just say, you know what? Both offenses are horrible. Give me the under 48. And then I do have Kansas minus 3 versus Illinois. So this is going against the grain. A lot of people think Illinois has value plus 3, but this is my personal narrative. I think Illinois is overrated this year. They're not going to be very good. They almost lost to Toledo last week. Kansas has a much higher upside offense. This is the Friday night game, I want to say. So it's going to be a raucous environment, and I just feel like Kansas might actually blow out Illinois, honestly. And then we do have UConn plus the 3 at Georgia State. So UConn really performed okay against NC State. They had a decent year last year. They returned everyone. And it feels like they're going to win this game outright against the Georgia State team who did not look good in week 1. So plus the 3 seems like good value there. And then we do have 2 FCS games. So these are lines that will not be released until Saturday morning. I do not know what the line in the Ohio State-Youngstown State game is going to be, but I would say Ohio State's pretty much a lock to cover this, even if it's like 52 or 53. The reason I say that is because Kyle McCord, the one game he started before this year was against Akron, and Akron, they're not even an FCS team, but Ohio State won that game, I want to say like 73-14 or something, so Ohio State against FCS teams is just a ridiculous mismatch. The last time they faced an FCS team, they won 76-0 against Florida A&M, and also there's a situation where Ryan Day is going to be throwing the ball in the second half because he wants to get Devin Brown live game reps. They're not going to run it up against, Jim Tressel's team, which is Youngstown State, but they're just going to score so much. It's such a mismatch. I would take. Plus, the other thing is Ohio State is 0-1 against the spread. Feels pretty safe that they're going to improve to 1-1 there. And then this is the other FCS game. So Charleston Southern at Clemson. I don't know what the over-under is going to be, but it's one of those weird games where it's a 2:15 start. Clemson coming off that miserable loss. The home energy is going to be horrible against an FCS team. Charleston Southern is terrible. I mean, they had a horrible week 1 performance in their game, and if it's like an over-under in the 50s, I'll take 41-3. Clemson might actually just shut out Charleston Southern, but either way, I like the under vibe in that one. But guys, that is going to do it for my top 10 best bets for college football week number 2. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.